He ruled Rome with fear, not love. His cruelty destroyed a kingdom and gave birth to a republic. This is the story of Lucius Tarquinius Superbus, the last king of Rome. Our story begins not with Tarquin himself, but with his father, Tarquinius Priscus, the fifth king of Rome. His family was steeped in royalty and ambition. Young Lucius Tarquinius grew up in the shadow of the throne, watching his father-in-law Servius Tullius rule. But for a man like Tarquin, watching was never enough. He believed the throne was his by right, and a burning ambition consumed him. He wasn't just the son of a king. He was a man who felt destiny owed him a crown, and he would stop at nothing to claim it. His wife, Talia, was just as ambitious, if not more so. Together, they formed a lethal partnership. They saw King Servius Tullius' own father, not as family, but as an obstacle. They began to plot, weaving a web of conspiracy and deceit within the very walls of the palace. Their moment came on a day that would forever be stained in Roman history. Tarquin, backed by a group of armed men, stormed into the Senate house and declared himself king. When the elderly Servius Tullius arrived to confront him, Tarquin, in a display of brute force, hurled him down the stone steps. As the old king staggered away, wounded and betrayed, assassins sent by Tarquin finished the job. In a final, horrifying act, Talia, his own daughter, drove her chariot over her father's body, sealing their bloody path to power. This was how Tarquin became king, not by election, not by the will of the people or the Senate, but through murder and usurpation. Once on the throne, Tarquin's true nature was unleashed. He was called Superbus, the Proud, the arrogant, and he earned the name every single day. He ruled as a tyrant, completely ignoring the Senate, which had been the traditional advisory council to the kings. He treated it with contempt, making decisions unilaterally. He established a personal bodyguard, a clear sign that he ruled by force, not consent. Fear became his primary tool of governance. He executed senators he suspected of disloyalty, often on trumped-up charges, and seized their property. The people of Rome were crushed under the weight of his rule. He imposed heavy taxes and forced them into labor, treating his citizens like slaves to fuel his grandiose ambitions. The city that was once a burgeoning community became a place of paranoia and oppression under his iron fist. Yet, even tyrants can be builders. Tarquin's reign, for all its brutality, was a period of significant construction. He used the forced labor of the Roman people to embark on massive public works projects. His most famous achievement was the completion of the great Temple of Jupiter Optimus Maximus on the Capitoline Hill. It was a monumental structure, a testament to Rome's growing power, but its foundations were laid with the sweat and suffering of his people. He also finalized the Cloaca Maxima, Rome's great sewer system, a vital piece of infrastructure that would serve the city for centuries. These projects transformed the landscape of Rome, but they were symbols of his power, built not for the glory of the people, but for the glory of Tarquin himself. Tarquin's ambition wasn't limited to the city walls. He was an aggressive and successful military commander. He waged war against the surrounding Latin tribes, expanding Rome's territory and influence. He was a shrewd strategist, using both brute force and cunning diplomacy to subdue his neighbors. He conquered the city of Gabii through a treacherous plot involving his son, Sextus, who pretended to be a deserter. Through these campaigns, Tarquin made Rome the dominant power in the region. He forced other Latin cities into unequal treaties, effectively making them subjects of his kingdom. While his methods were ruthless, his military successes were undeniable, further solidifying his power and filling the Roman treasury, which he, of course, controlled completely. But a kingdom built on fear is fragile. The arrogance that defined Tarquin's reign was inherited by his sons, and it would be their actions that brought everything crashing down. The catalyst for the revolution was a single, horrific crime. While the Roman army was away besieging the city of Ardea, a group of young noblemen, including Tarquin's son Sextus, were discussing the virtues of their wives. One of them, Lucius Tarquinius Superbus, boasted of the purity of his wife, Lucretia. Inflamed by a mixture of wine and jealousy, Sextus Tarquinius rode to Collatnus's home. There, he was welcomed as a guest, but in the dead of night, he violated that sacred hospitality. He assaulted Lucretia, threatening her with death. and dishonor. The next day, a distraught Lucretia summoned her father and husband. She told them what had happened, made them swear an oath to avenge her honor, and then, believing she could no longer live with the shame, she took her own life before their eyes. Lucretia's death was the spark that ignited the fires of rebellion. Among the men who witnessed her final moments was Lucius Junius Brutus, a relative of the king who had long feigned stupidity to survive Tarquin's Seeing Lucretia's body, Brutus dropped his act. He pulled the dagger from her chest and swore an oath, not just to avenge her, but to drive the Tarquins from Rome and ensure that no king would ever rule there again. He had Lucretia's body carried to the Roman Forum, the site of the noblewoman's corpse, and the story of her tragic fate enraged the people of Rome. The simmering resentment they felt towards Tarquin's tyranny exploded into open revolt. Led by Brutus, the citizens voted to abolish the monarchy and exile Tarquin and his entire family. When Tarquin, hearing of the unrest, rushed back to the city, he found the gates barred against him. The kingdom was over. In 509 BC, from the ashes of tyranny and personal tragedy, the Roman Republic was born. But Tarquin the Proud did not go quietly into exile. For the rest of his long life, he was consumed by a single desire: to reclaim his throne. He sought help from neighboring cities, convincing them to go to war with the fledgling republic. He instigated conspiracies within Rome itself. He fought in battles against his former people, watching his own sons die in the process. Time and again, he tried to claw his way back to power, and time and again, he failed. The Republic, forged in the fire of his expulsion, held strong. Tarquin eventually died an old, bitter man in exile, a king without a kingdom. His story became a foundational myth for Rome, a permanent lesson etched into their history. That power without virtue is tyranny, and that the will of a people to be free is a force that even the proudest king cannot defeat. The fall of Tarquin was not just the end of a king. It was the birth of an idea, the idea of a republic that would go on to change the world forever. Thanks for watching. If you found this story fascinating, be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more tales from history.